I had to go into emergency surgery. Clergy was called, my husband had to sign the forms. I was on life support for about a week. I had complete kidney failure, I was on dialysis. And every now and then, someone might say, gee, what happened? My name's Elaine, and almost 4 years ago, I became a quadruple amputee, and this is my story. They found out that it was a group A strep infection, which had led to toxic shock syndrome. Because of the medication they had to give me to save my vital organs, it took the blood from my extremities, and I ended up having to have 4 amputations. It was a huge adjustment. I couldn't do much for myself, to be honest. I remember when I was at the Miller Center for my physio and my rehabilitation, I really wanted to come home. We had 2 small children at the time, they were 2 and 6. So at week 10, they finally said, okay, we'll let you go home. Everything was a challenge, going up the stairs, eating, my kids needed to go to school. I couldn't really help out that much. My routine is very similar to anyone else's, except again, I have to think steps ahead. All the everyday things that you take for granted mentally exhaust me, as well as physically. Trying to learn to do my hair again was quite a challenge. Initially, when my fingers were so tender and so sore, the occupational therapist was trying to come up with some way for me to just do a ponytail, something. Because I didn't want to cut my hair off because of it. And my daughter is 6, she has long, beautiful hair. And I need to be able to do her hair. It sounds simple, but it's a big thing. I really don't care about my own so much, it's my daughter. I want to make her feel good, so that her mom can do things. So I have a PhD, and I was a biochemist at Memorial University, so I was a research scientist there, and I also taught. My job was a lot of hands-on. I worked in a laboratory, so I can't work with chemicals. I can't do the fine hand manipulation that I used to have to do. So as of right now, work is kind of off the table. I have prosthetics, but it was a long time coming. So this one goes on just like a glove. It's a snug fit. And the prosthetist at the Miller Center hooked me up with a company called Autobach in Ontario. They're one of the best in the world. So I spent 4 full days in the Autobach silicone lab, and that's how long it took to get all the casting of my limbs. I love the look of them, but realistically, they get in the way. And I tried to drive with them on one time, and I looked at the wheel, and one finger was pointing that way. Like they turn, it almost feels like I have a Halloween costume on sometimes, because I have these big extensions on my fingers. But they are lovely. The shape for my hand and the length of my hand was done from a photocopy my kids wanted to do. We have a printer that has like a photocopier option, and before I got sick, I don't know why, we're just fooling around one day, and we all put our hands on the photocopier and photocopied our hands. So I brought the photocopy with me, and they took those dimensions for my hands. And I'm like, who ever thought I would have needed that? And we have it framed on our wall, because it's really important. And my feet were casted for my mom's feet. Because I just couldn't describe how I could picture my toes. I just couldn't show them. So I got my mom to cast her feet for me. And so I have my mom's toes. So this is a custom insert. It's like you would get an orthotic, but this one has a custom toe filler. And because I don't have a natural arch anymore, it does what it can to give me a proper shape. And this took a lot of practice. And a lot of the times it comes undone because I can't tie them tight enough, because I can't grab tight enough, but yeah. The sad part is I can hardly remember what I was like before. I had 37 years with fingers and toes, and it's like I can't remember much of it. So the equipment we used today was a dip belt with some TRX straps, and so it enabled us to take my hands out of the equation so that I can lift without having to use my hands. When I do the deadlift, I have to keep myself from going forward. Same with the squat, because when you get that heavy weight on your back, you know, if you teeter at all, you usually have your toes to save you, and I don't. So yes, balance is a big thing, and getting a strong core is essential. So, you know, then when I go home, this helps me with my stairs, with my taking groceries. It's a huge benefit to my everyday life. Oh, it's great. It's like you get a natural high when you can do things that, you know, you didn't think you could.
Good job.
What drove you to get back on track to try and make things normal again?
And what drove me? Oh,
Yeah.
my kids, 100%. They needed the mom to do what a mom does, you know, and I love them so much. It was them.